All right, let me ask you a question. Who told you that success meant clocking in, clocking out, and trading your best hours for a barely livable wage? Who told you that working 40 plus hours a week, barely seeing your kids, coming home drained, and giving your leftovers to what matters most was normal? Because I'm here today to tell you something that I believe is going to break something open for your life. And this episode might be the most important conversation that we've had yet on this podcast. And it's not just about quitting your job, it's about quitting the system that trained you to settle. It's about reclaiming your time, it's about reclaiming your mind, your creativity, and most importantly, for you to be able to create a legacy. And guys, I'm taking a sledgehammer to the 9 to 5 mindset because that mindset for many people watching this is a cage. And I'm here to break you out of it. So if you've ever sat at a desk wondering, is this it? This episode is your confirmation. No, this is not for everybody, but this is for the people who believe you were just made for more than this. And let's start by going back to the root because the 9 to 5 didn't fall from the sky. It was built, engineered, and it was certainly not built for your freedom. See, let's go back to the system, the way that it was designed. Okay. The 9 to 5 wasn't always a thing. In fact, it didn't even exist before the Industrial Revolution. So for thousands of years, people worked the land, they ran family businesses, they created with their hands, they passed down skills to their kids. Work was integrated into life. It wasn't separated from life. Then came the machines, and then came the factories, and then came the conveyor belts, the bells, the school bells, the uniforms, the time cards. And a man like Henry Ford, he took it mainstream. He needed a reliable workforce for his assembly line. So he standardized the 8-hour workday, 5 days a week, not because it was meaningful, not because it helped families, but because it made his factories more efficient. The 9 to 5 wasn't born for your purpose. It was born for someone else's productivity. And what happened next? Governments, schools, and entire cultures started to mimic that system. Bell schedules in schools, that's not about learning. It's training for shift changes. Standardized testing, that's not about creativity. It's about conformity. You were not trained to dream. You were trained to obey. Now, we've certainly paid a price for this. So I want to talk to you about what this system really cost us. It cost us fathers, men who wake up early, they fight traffic, they spend their best mental energy building someone else's dream, and then they come home completely exhausted. Not because they don't love their families, but because this system convinced them that presence is a luxury they can't afford. It's cost us mothers, brilliant, nurturing, visionary women that were told that motherhood wasn't enough. They were told that they had to, quote unquote, contribute by joining the grind, while their children are raised by strangers, screens, and survival mode. It's cost us kids who grow up thinking success means being busy, who never get their parents' full attention, just bits and pieces between meetings, messages, and meltdowns. Guys, it's cost us our creativity. We've been trained to memorize, not imagine, to follow scripts, not to break molds. And it's cost us freedom because when your income is dependent upon your attendance, your life becomes a performance you can't afford to stop. And matter of fact, then the way they double down on that is they give us performance rewards. So the sad part is most people have never really sat down to question it. That's the wild part. Most people have never even questioned this structure. We handed this system like it was, we were handed the system like it was sacred or something. You go to school, you get a job, you get married, you get a mortgage, you spend your whole life paying or repaying that decision. And then maybe one day, if you're lucky, you retire with just enough time and money to visit your grandkids a couple times a year. That's the dream. Let me be clear. That is not my dream. That's not your dream. That's a program loop designed to keep you too tired, too distracted, and too dependent to ever ask, is there another way? But there is another way, guys, and we're going to talk about it in this podcast. So I want to pull back the curtain even further, because if the 9 to 5 was a factory built system, then we need to understand what it really does to people. And so we're going to look at the emotional cost, the family fallout, and the internal prison most people are living in, even if their paycheck looks fine on paper. So I want you to stick with me. This isn't a motivational talk. This is a jailbreak. Okay. So now that you know where the 9 to 5 came from, let's talk about what it's actually doing to people, because this isn't just a matter of how we spend our time. This is about how we shape our lives. And this system, this modern work culture, it's not just stealing your hours. It's stealing your peace. It's stealing your joy, your sense of ownership over your own life. And the scariest part, it's not doing it through chains and cages. It's doing it through paychecks and benefits. So I want to talk about how the 9 to 5 system breaks people down. And we're going to be brutally honest about this. Most people don't live anymore. They manage. They manage their calendar. They manage exhaustion. They manage their anxiety with caffeine in the morning, and then manage their anxiety at night with wine. They manage their marriage just enough to not get divorced. They manage their kids like a side project that they hope doesn't go off the rails. But thriving, that's gone for most people. Why? Because the 9 to 5 was never meant to support human flourishing. It was built for output, and now you're the product. And the moment you start seeing that, you can't unsee it. So let's talk about the generational damage. You've got men working 50 to 60 hours a week trying to provide, but they're missing the very thing they were called to protect. Your family doesn't just need your permission, Dad. They need your presence. But in a world where everything costs more and companies don't care who breaks as long as the numbers add up, men are told, just grind, just go. You'll be a better dad someday. But someday isn't guaranteed. And someday isn't how legacy is built. Then there's the moms. They're told, you're wasting your life if you're not chasing a career. So instead of embracing their role as leaders, nurturers, creators, and culture carriers inside the home, they're shamed into thinking that their highest contribution is their LinkedIn profile. And the kids, they get shuffled around like cargo, dropped off, picked up, screen time into silence. And no one's trying to do damage, but the system doesn't care. And do you know what most people are carrying right now? Not just debt in their finances, debt in their soul. They're in emotional overdraft, spiritually depleted, creatively bankrupt, because they spend every ounce of energy surviving and nothing left to build anything meaningful. Guys, the reality is, I'm so passionate about this because you were born for creativity. You were born for problem solving, for contribution. But that gets choked out when every hour of your day is accounted for by someone else. But here's the truth. You can't live an extraordinary life on a schedule that's built for mediocrity. The 9 to 5 system trades your originality for predictability. And in return, they give you just enough so that you don't quit. And guys, I'm going to expose this illusion, and we're going to shatter it with the sledgehammer today. The number one reason people stay stuck in 9 to 5 jobs is this. It's secure. But is it? Let me ask you this. If your income is tied to a company that could fire you tomorrow, is that security? If your health insurance, retirement plan, and lifestyle are all dependent on decisions made in a boardroom that you've never entered, nor will most of you ever will, is that really secure? Or is it just predictable? There's a difference. Security isn't knowing what time you clock in. Security is knowing what you own, or let me say it this way. Security is knowing that you own your life. And right now, most people do not. So I want to shift gears a little bit, because if this is the old way, then it's time to talk about the new way. the more excellent way, which I believe is a way of love that allows you to be more present, take your time back, and live a meaningful life. What if you could take the wisdom that you've lived through, the stories, the solutions, the skills you've developed, and turn them into something that pays you forever? We're going to unpack the modern day exit plan: digital products, time freedom, creative ownership, financial peace, and a life that finally feels like yours. Let's jump in. Now, before we jump into this next section of the conversation, I want to pause for just a second because I know this conversation is super intense, okay? And I know for some of you, it might be hitting deep. But I also want to make one thing clear. If you genuinely feel called to a 9 to 5 role, whether it's teaching, healthcare, government, whatever it is, this message is not meant to dishonor you. The world needs good people in every corner of culture. Some of you are lights in boardrooms and classrooms and break rooms. And if that's where you're called, I celebrate you. Stay faithful. But this episode, this message, it's for the ones who feel like they're dying inside. The ones who feel like they're called to something else, something different, but don't know where to start. This is for the dreamers who've been stuck in survival, the creatives who've been buried by routine, the leaders who are working someone else's plan while their own is collecting dust. And if that's you, I want to personally invite you into something different. Right now, we are offering 12 months of access to the Wise Builders business community for just $997. Guys, this is huge. This is a $5,000 program that I'm giving you an 80% discount through the month of June. But you've got to sign up now. I've only got 20 spots available. And guys, this isn't just a course. This is a full system, a proven roadmap, and a community of people just like you breaking free from the 9 to 5 grind and building real digital product businesses. So inside of Wise Builders, you're going to get a step-by-step framework to package your wisdom into income. You're going to get weekly coaching calls with me to keep you focused and accountable. You're going to get templates and scripts and tools to help you launch faster, and a private community of builders, no fluff, just results. And if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, I have no idea what to even sell, that's where we start. We help you uncover the wisdom you didn't even know people would pay you for. And we show you how to build it into a business you can run from anywhere. This $997 offer is part of our summer kickstart. It's an 80% discount, no hidden fees, no upsells, just a one-time decision to finally start. Okay. So if your heart's pounding right now, if your gut knows this is for you, I want you to click the link below in the show notes and let's build this thing together. Don't let another year go by wishing for a change. Okay. I want you to click that button and join our community. Now, let's jump back into it. So now that we've deconstructed the 9 to 5 system, what do we build instead? What's the alternative? Because let me be real with you, this isn't just about quitting a job. This is about stepping into a completely different framework for life, a better one, a freer one, a more excellent way. And it's not just possible, guys, it's already happening. You're not the first to feel this tension, and you don't have to be the last to stay stuck. There is a whole new economy emerging, and it's not built on hourly wages. It's built on wisdom. It's built on digital products. Now, I want to break it down for you so simply that no one can miss it. A digital product is anything that you can create once and sell over and over again without being tied to a location, a time lock, or a manager. Now, it could be a video course, coaching program, a template, a workshop, a digital guide, a membership, online membership, a framework you've developed through your own lived experience. And if you've solved a problem in your life, someone else is willing to pay to skip the pain you went through. I want you to let that sink in, guys. Like, if you've solved a problem in your life, someone else is willing to pay to skip the pain you went through, guys, they will buy it from you. I want you to let that really sink in. And no, you don't need to be famous. You don't need 100,000 followers. You don't need a publishing deal or a fancy website. You need a problem you've solved, a voice to explain how you did it, and a system to sell it. And when you have those three things, you're no longer trading time for money. You're multiplying your impact and your income. I want you to think about this. You can work 40 hours this week for a paycheck, and next week, you'll start all over again. Or you can create a product once and sell it 100 times while you're playing with your kids, taking a walk, or even sleeping. Guys, that's not hype. That's leverage. I mean, literally, I was sitting on the beach yesterday watching my kids play in the water when I got 2 notifications on my phone that I had sold a $2,000 product. So I'm literally sitting on the beach, not engaged in work whatsoever, and made $2,000 on my beach trip. Guys, that's the power of digital products. They allow you to reclaim your time, own your schedule, scale your income, live and work from anywhere, spend more time with people that you love, and build something that outlives your labor. Most importantly, they allow you to own the thing that you're building. You're not a cog in someone else's machine anymore. You're the architect of your own life. You can co-labor with the Lord and build something absolutely amazing. Now, I want to make this announcement. I want to make this really clear. This isn't hustle culture that I'm teaching. This isn't get rich quick. This isn't sleep less, grind more, ignore your family while you build a business. No, this is about alignment. This is about clarity. It's about building something once that keeps working for you long after the Zoom call ends. This is modern stewardship. This is working smarter because you finally value your time enough to stop trading it so cheaply. And if you're wondering, can I, Mark, really do this? Let me answer that directly. Yes, you can. I've seen moms, teachers, baristas, construction workers, ministers, full-time employees turn their knowledge into a digital income within 90 days. I've been able to watch Haley, a girl in our community. She made $9,000 in her first 5 weeks into the program. Not because she was an expert, but because she got started. She got clear. These people that are making money online, they get clear. They follow a system. They stop trying to figure it out all alone. And that's what I'm trying to give you right now. Okay. So I want to make this even more practical. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to start step by step, because it's one thing to be inspired. It's another thing to have a plan. Okay. I'm going to give you the blueprint because your freedom isn't just a dream. It's a decision. Now, so far, we've exposed the lie. We've honored the ones who feel called to stay. We've laid out the better way. But now I want to hand you a roadmap, because nothing changes unless you take action. Inspiration is the spark. Execution is the fire. So I'm going to walk you through step by step how to leave the 9 to 5 behind and step into a new economy using the wisdom you already carry. You ready? Now, before you start building anything, you have to get clear on what you're carrying, because here's the truth. You already have wisdom inside of you that people would pay for. That thing that you've been through, the pain you've healed from, the system you figured out, the skill you developed under pressure, that experience is your product. You don't need to be 10 steps ahead. You just need to be one step ahead of the person who's still stuck. So here's how to find it. What do people ask you for help with? What have you overcome that others still struggle with? What do you do easily that others find hard? What could you talk about for hours and never get tired? Friend, that's your niche. That's your lane. That's your digital product that's waiting on you to build it. And most people never leave the 9 to 5 because they never stop long enough to realize they already own the gold. They just haven't packaged it yet. Step number 2, we've got to take, which would be your offer. So step number 2 is the offer. Package it into a transformation. See, once you're clear on your own wisdom, the next step is building the offer. And your offer is not just a product. It's a promise of transformation. And here's how you build it. First, you identify the problem your audience is facing. Secondly, you map out the exact steps you took to solve it. Third, you turn that into a structured format, which could be video courses, live workshop, one-on-one coaching, digital guide, etc. And then you attach a result that your product helps them reach. See, your story becomes the system. Your pain becomes a process. Your experience becomes income. And you don't need to overcomplicate this. You just need, let me say this. You don't need to overcomplicate it, and you don't need to be perfect. You just need to package it clearly, because people don't buy products, they buy results. Then we move from that. You need a simple way to sell your offer. And no, it doesn't require a fancy funnel, tech headaches, or a $10,000 website. That's what many people are paying for right now. What you need is this: a landing page that explains who you help and the result you offer. A checkout link so that you can take payment. Could be Stripe, Kajabi, something simple. You need a delivery method, which could be Google Drive, school. And then you need a follow-up system, which can be email or DMs to nurture your audience. That's it. If you can post a story on Instagram, you can sell a digital product. If you can send a calendar invite, you can book a coaching call. If you can use Google Docs, you can deliver value. Don't let perfection be your excuse. Done is better than perfect. So start simple and then refine and make it better as you go. And then step number 4 is we talk about the marketing, building with content, not pressure. You've got to learn how to attract the right kind of people. And this is where most people panic and think, well, Mark, I'm not a marketer. But let me tell you a secret. Marketing is just storytelling. It's showing up online and talking about the problem that you solve. It's sharing your journey. It's posting behind the scenes. It's giving value, asking questions, and starting real conversations. And you don't need to sell. You need to share. Document your journey. Show people the process. Let them see your face. Let them hear your voice. Let them feel your conviction. Post short videos. Write out tips. Ask questions. Go live. Remember, you're not trying to go viral. You're trying to give value. And then step number 5 is you need a community. Don't build alone. Let's be real. Most people stay stuck because they try to do this in isolation. They overthink, they stall out, they start and stop, doubt themselves, and then go right back to the job they hate. And that's why I created Wise Builders, so you don't have to figure it out alone, so you don't get stuck in your head, second guessing every move. When you're surrounded by other creators, coaches, authors, builders, people who are actually doing it, everything accelerates. You get accountability, you get feedback, you get momentum. You stop waiting and you start building. And every week we go live, we coach, we troubleshoot, we show you the exact next step to take. And if you're serious about leaving the 9 to 5, you don't need more ideas. You just need alignment, and community creates that. Then step number 6 is you got to make a commitment. At some point, you have to decide, is this my someday or is this my starting day? Because nothing's going to change until you make a move. The 9 to 5 will keep offering safety. Comfort will keep whispering. Just wait until you're more ready. Fear will keep telling you, what if you fail? But you already know what staying stuck looks like. You've lived it. It's time to experience what stepping out feels like. This isn't just about building a business. This is about reclaiming your life. This is about making a decision. Don't just say you're ready. Act like you're ready. And then there's step number 7. You need to prove to yourself it's real. So this is where the magic happens. You don't need to make $100,000 your first year. You don't need to replace your income overnight. You need to make your first $1,000. That's your proof of concept. That's the moment your brain rewires and says, wait, I can do this. That's the crack in the system where the light comes through. It's real. It's working. It's happening. And from there, the floodgates start to open. That first sale is sacred. It's the moment you stop doubting and you start owning your path. So we're going to land this thing with some fire here. A word for the fence sitters, a final challenge for the culture, and a bold call to burn the boats and build the future. Because the old way, guys, it's broken. Yes, it's paying your bills, but it may be destroying your family. But there's a new way that's open. So before we close this episode out, I want to invite you into something big, not just a business opportunity, not just a podcast episode, a real movement. Right now, we're building something called Long Path Studios. And let me be clear, this isn't just a media company. This is going to be the headquarters for a kingdom content revolution. Long Path Studios is going to be a place where stories are told that actually matter, a space where kingdom entrepreneurs and creators gather to create with excellence, a launch pad for content that's going to shape cultures, not just mimic others. It's going to be a studio where messages like this one go out to millions of people. But here's the deal. We need your help. We've just signed the lease on a new space, and we're raising $100,000 to complete the build out. We want to furnish the studio, upgrade our equipment, and bring the vision to life. And I want to invite you to sow into it. So if this message today lit a fire in you, if you believe in what we're building, if you want to be a part of helping us reach millions with content that shifts mindsets, revives families, and launches leaders into their assignment, I'm asking you to give. Every gift, big or small, matters. Guys, it's tax deductible. It's going directly to the launch, and it's a part of something that's going to outlast all of us. So I want you to go to markcasto.co/donate, or you can click the link in the show notes. Again, that's markcasto, markcasto.co/donate. And let's build this thing together, not just for us, but for the voices who haven't even picked up a mic yet. Now, let's bring this episode home. You've heard the history. You felt the cost. You've seen the blueprint. Now comes the moment of decision, because nothing changes unless you burn the boats. See, there's a moment in every story where the main character decides, I'm not going back. There is no plan B, no back door, no second guessing. That's what burn the boats means. When ancient warriors landed on enemy shores, they would light their own ships on fire because retreat was no longer an option. Victory was the only way forward. And that's the posture you need if you're going to escape the 9-to-5 mindset. Not, well, I'll dabble with content, or I'll try this until it gets comfortable, or maybe next year when things settle down. You have to decide, I'm done surviving. I'm building something new. The old way isn't just broken, it's beneath who God's called me to be. I've outgrown it. So burn the boats. And once the boats are gone, you build. You build with intention. You build with sacrifice. You build like your kids are watching, because they are. This isn't just about escaping a job. It's about creating a legacy. Your children are learning right now how to think about time, money, work, purpose by watching you. I want you to let that sink in. What would happen if they saw you walk away from the system and succeed? What if they saw you create something with your bare hands? What if they learned that freedom is possible, not from a textbook, but from your life? That's how we break generational cycles. That's how we rebuild families. That's how we change culture, not by yelling louder, but by living better. And if you're still here, if your heart's pounding, if your mind's racing with possibilities, that's not hype. That's called alignment. And now's the time to act. I want you to join Wise Builders and get the system you need. I want you to partner with Long Path Studios to fuel this movement. I want you to take the first step, record the video, send the email, post the story, book the call. I want you to tell fear to shut up. You're done listening. Here's your permission slip, guys. You don't need one, but here's your sign. You just heard it for the last few moments. Here's your moment. This is it. Don't let this episode become another, well, that was good kind of moment. Make it a turning point. You're not waiting for breakthrough. You're walking into it. I'm going to say this, final words of closing for this episode. You weren't made for survival. You weren't made for a paycheck. You were made to create, to multiply, to own your time, to own your voice, to build with wisdom. So burn the boats, build the future, and if you need help, Wise Builders is open. Long Path Studios is rising, and we're just getting started. I'll see you on the inside. Let's build.